And welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that lovely duct tape. Massive shout out to Vortex Lamb. I don't think he's in the chat, but he is the editor of the duct tapes, and he is so good at what he does. Oh, and speaking of being good at what they do, we are here in the grand finals of Sparkling Tuna Cup number 17.
Yes, and we have a ZVP between Demi and NightMare. So very cool to see Demi in the finals again. Definitely feels like he's in really good form at the moment.
Oh yeah, exactly. It doesn't happen too often, but we do have a Southeast Asian representative here in the grand finals. We'll see if they can go all the way, if he can go all the way, as spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Inside and Out ESL, we have the Indian Zerg representing Alpha X. It is Demi.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of the map, it is the South Korean Protoss playing for Team NV. It is NightMare.
Oh boy, exactly. NightMare coming in here as the clear favorite, the GSL South Korean Pro. But against all odds, mate, Demi has found his way here, even taking down the Oceanic representative to get here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I still do like his chances considering how those last couple games went against the Protoss Lunacy. Demi did show that he does have a good grasp on the current meta and does have a good way of playing it out. This is something that we've been seeing a lot of the Zergs start to favor a lot more, this +1 style against the new hero style and just waiting it out for the power spike of the Ultras.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see how the meta has evolved and shifted, how players have been playing. Initially, they started playing around with Ling Bane, Roach Ravager, and then they recognized the power of just pure Ling, and just having Roaches to support them as well. I know there are some players who have been playing a lot more with Ling Hydra instead and using Hydras to have that anti-air and having a different power spike to go into lurkers instead of ultras. So there are some players like trying to figure it out, but Demi clearly has it under control, at least in that last series.
Yeah, for sure. And so far we're just seeing fairly standard openings coming out from both players. Nothing too crazy just yet. We are seeing just an Adept coming out from the side of the Protoss, just seeing the Link speed, the Lings and the Queens from the Zerg. And we are seeing a Twilight opener for NightMare.
Yeah, already something a little bit different, and this is something that we saw the other day. So Yaku and I, we were casting NightMare versus Su a couple of days ago in the TSL qualifiers. And I think the most interesting thing is that NightMare was a very flexible player. Every single game, we casted a best of 5 and it went 4 matches. Every single game, NightMare went for a different opener. He did something different, whether it was Glaive Adepts, he went for DTs one game, he went for Archons another, and he went for the hero style Blink Stalker Triple Oracle in another. So again, he's a very unpredictable player, as we can see here, not going for a Stargate.
Yeah, I like to see a good range of strategies coming out from the players. Does get the Adept in, does scout quite a lot of Lings being made already by Demi.
Mate, he's doing it again. He's just like the previous series against Lunacy. He's going for a massive Ling Flood. We do have a full wall off here in the main base. It looks like we have Dark Shrine on the way for NightMare, but can he wall off because there's no shield battery behind this?
He does have the probe there in time, but I do believe we're going to need to be seeing a lot more walling off than this to keep out this commitment of Lings.
Yeah, exactly. In the end, this Stalker should end up falling. There we go. It does end up going down. We have some nice surface area on the side of the core specifically. The shield battery is going to finish up soon, TM, but I don't think it's going to finish up soon enough.
Yeah, we do see NightMare already beginning to prepare this second layer of the wall, but this core is going to go down.
Yeah, the core goes down. Meanwhile, we only have one gateway powered. We do have one warping available, but the gateway goes down. You can warp it anyway. Despite it falling. But the Lings are breaking through.
Yeah, the Lings are breaking through. All that's left between them and these probes is that one pylon. We do see the rewall coming through again, but Demi's beginning to break through.
Yeah, and mate, even if this Dark Shrine finishes, we don't have a gateway to warp in. In a couple of seconds, we will have a couple, but will they be able to stay up in time? Meanwhile, the Lings, they're breaking through, puppy, they get in.
Yeah, we do see the second core going down, and the Lings get a full surround on the probes. GG is called.
GG,
Wow.
well played. Demi takes a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, unexpected start to the series with Demi already going in with a 1-0 lead. With that Ling Flood, did catch NightMare being a little bit greedy, getting the Twilight and the Robo and the DT Shrine all at once. He was a little bit lacking with the units and didn't quite manage to get the Scout in time.
Ooh, exactly. Once he no, he didn't even, right? Like, the Adept across the map saw a lot of Lings, but he wasn't able to get into the mineral line. He didn't realize how many drones were being cut. He didn't realize that there was no saturation on any kind of third or anything like that. And by the time the Lings came across the map, there wasn't even a shield battery on the way. Like, NightMare didn't recognize what was happening until it was already happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure he would have loved to have that Adept as well at home. Does tend to be a little bit of a coin flip sometimes in ZVP, whether you want to send your Adept across the map or not, because it can get you in trouble in these ways.
It really can. And with that, Demi takes a nice lead already in this series, but it's a best of 5. We still have plenty more games to go, plenty more maps to go. Ooh, but it's still a really nice little bit of momentum here for our Indian Zerg.
Yeah, it does get that map lead that he was wanting. And we do have Moondance as the second map.
Oh. Yeah, bearing in mind it's a best of 5, so both players only had 1 veto each, which means we may get into some of these more quirkier maps.
Yes, and spawning here in the bottom right-hand corner of Moondance, it is the Indian Zerg playing for Alpha X. It's Demi.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Moondance ESL, we have the South Korean Protoss player himself representing Team NV. It is NightMare.
Yeah, and we have been seeing quite a lot of Moondance already today. We'll be interested to see if there's anything special in store for the players. This is another map that does have a 2-building wall at the front for the Protoss, so there is an opportunity here possibly to go for that third base in the back and have a bit more of a safe defense than you might normally have.
Yeah, exactly. Something like a Ling Flood isn't going to work here on Moondance, or it's unlikely that it works. So Demi, again, very nice cheeky win there, going for something a little bit unorthodox, but now has to be a little bit more standard, at least relative to the first game.
Yeah, a little bit more standard. Does also take the third at the third. The natural, sorry, at the third, the unnatural natural, after having it blocked. So that does also kind of take away any options for him to take the cheeky third in the back and just have the one angle to be defending from in the front.
Yeah, exactly. It does kind of take away some options. But we'll see what happens here, because something that Yaku and I have also noticed, specifically on this map, in this matchup, is that if you expand here towards your opponent, it can actually, depending on how good you are with creep, kind of become a launch pad here for a fast, like, even Queen Roach push to come across the map. Typically, some Protoss players are maybe a little bit too greedy, because it is easy to get up to 3 bases and maybe even take a 4th, and sometimes you can take advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. With the short rush distance that we do have on this map, ordinarily on these short maps, when you do see the Zerg take the triangle base anyway, it's usually for something aggressive, but we do actually see a Forge from NightMare.
What? We have a Forge follow-up? What?
So, just spitballing here, I think potentially he might be wanting to throw down a cannon at the front and use that for his defense to take a fast third.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I have not seen this before, because again, this is a pretty late Forge, let's be real here. But going for it does signify, there we go, that he wants to go into a Stargate. This is very reminiscent of like the more old school, like Zest style of PvZ, where you just want to turtle up, be as efficient as possible with as few units as possible, and go into Skytoss.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, Demi gets a full scout of everything that's going on, getting these Lings in even being quite a nuisance with the Lynx getting a few of these probes low. NightMare will clean it up in the end, but
Mate,
where's this queen going?
there's no third. There's no third base. Demi's going all in. He threw down a Roach Warren. He has stopped droning at 23 workers. He wants to end the game here and now before NightMare can turtle up and get up those cannons.
Yeah, and I love this for him. Having got those Lings in, he did see absolutely everything. Sees that there was a Stargate on the way. We immediately see the cancel on the Oracle. We see the Void Ray going down. We see the cannons. We see the shield batteries. But is it too late already?
May, there we go. The wall is no longer a wall. The shield batteries are too late. This was a late response. This was a very late scout from NightMare. Workers are falling left and right. We have a queen as well for anti-air, just in case that Void Ray does end up rocking up. And this is becoming far too much damage. The shield batteries are finishing, but there's an Artosis pylon Buffy.
The pylon goes down. These shield batteries and these cannons will not come into play. The probes all gone from the natural. Only the one Void Ray remains. And this is just too much damage to come back from for NightMare.
Oh my god, the Warp Gate even gets denied. There's only a single Void Ray, and the Void Ray will kill everything eventually, but it's too late. GG gets caught. Demi takes a 2-0 lead.
Wow, and in the space of only 10 minutes, Demi is speedrunning this grand final.
Oh my god. Wow. What is happening this game? Because of the map, I kind of like what NightMare was going for. It is something that you can only pull off on Moondancer. Very off meta, very weird, very strange build, but Demi identified it so quickly and he just went for it. You were already talking about how short the rush distance is and how common, we were talking about how common roach pushes and roach all-ins can be, but that was incredibly quick, incredibly decisive, and I can't believe that Demi's only one game away from becoming our champion.
Yeah, absolutely. For the second time, quite a greedy opening coming out from NightMare, skipping quite a few units. And Demi, getting those instrumental 2 Lings in, seeing everything, is able to just fully commit to this all-in and takes a very quick 2-0 lead.
Wow, and just like that, Demi only needs one more victory here to become our champion this week in Sparkling Tuna Cup, something that has never happened before for us to have a Southeast Asia champion. He is so close. On the flip side of things, NightMare is a very strong player. He's a very accomplished player as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if he just calms down and plays a little bit more standard.
Yeah, absolutely. But we do have our next map, and spawning in the top right hand corner, it is the Zerg from India playing for Alpha X, enjoying 3 match points now. It is Demi.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Tropical Sacrifice ESL, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Team NV, currently down 0-2 in this best-of-5 finals. It is NightMare. I don't want to see none of this Forge nonsense, NightMare.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if NightMare makes any adjustments, possibly looking for a more standard, calm game going into this map. This is definitely a map that we have seen favored by the players for fairly standard games for the most part. It definitely looks like one of the most standard stable maps in the pool so far.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, loved by all, really. Like there's not too much crazy about this map. It's relatively standard, and because of that, I hope we see that kind of game from NightMare. Again, I'm still a little bit shocked by how this series has progressed. I knew that NightMare was, again, he would do vary things up quite a bit, but like that last game was insanely greedy from NightMare.
Yeah, absolutely, and I would really hope that after 2 games of that, NightMare is not underestimating Demi.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, let's be real here. NightMare knows who he is, and he's aware of who Demi is, and I'm sure he was feeling pretty confident coming into this. Maybe feeling like he could even abuse his opponent and get away with some relatively greedy openers. But we can see that if at any moment Demi smells weakness, he sees weakness, he will exploit it immediately. So NightMare has to take this a little bit more seriously. I hope to see a Stargate opener. I hope to see a more standard, Oracle opener as well. But We'll see, as we already see the first piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, already seeing a much more standard opening coming out from NightMare, so at least for the moment, looking like we'll have more of a game. At the same time, Demi just going for the same opening as well. We can see he does have that beautiful 0 gas because he pulled out on time late.
What are you trying to say, Asher? What are you trying to say? Huh?
Trying to say you could learn a thing or two.
Shaking my head. Oh god. Well, what's important is that Demi was able to take his natural, quickly checking the vision of NightMare. He is aware of the third base. That was also something else that happened in the previous games, is that Demi did stay on 2 bases. So NightMare is now, okay, he's expanding at least. There's no 2 base all in. Things are looking a little bit more normal, and he's being very careful with his adept, making sure that he doesn't lose it. He keeps an eye on that mineral line.
Yeah, it does send that shade backwards, making sure it doesn't lose his adept for free again and get in trouble in that same way with the Link Flood. And we are seeing from Demi, he is droning and making queens.
Yeah, so much more macro oriented from both players right now, much more standard. The first Oracle is going to be going across the map. The goal here, not just to deal damage, but also to confirm the drone count, to confirm that there is no weird tech, no early lair, no early Evo chambers, or anything crazy like that.
Yes, and on the other side, we do also see the Lings just getting a little bit of a scout. Does manage to pick off 1 probe for their troubles, and the Oracle just being shooed away from the Queen, but doesn't take too much hull damage.
Yeah, basically, you know, it's almost like Demi passing a skill check here. The first Oracle comes across the map and it deals 0 damage. Does confirm that the third base wasn't cancelled or anything crazy like that either. I'm going to be trying to pick off a couple of Lings here and there, but again, nothing too substantial. NightMare is forced back. But we have a second Oracle and a third Oracle coming across the map as well. Very hero-esque.
Yeah, seeing all the standard pieces of the puzzle for this Blink Stalker Oracle style. We did take a little bit of damage on this Oracle, but for the most part, looking very standard from both players. Also seeing the fast Evo coming out from Demi and the fast +1, which is the way that most Zerg players have been choosing to approach this style matchup lately.
Exactly. So now in this series, Demi was able to, again, prove to NightMare that, hey, you gotta take this seriously, buddy. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. And this is gonna really test the mettle of Demi. You could argue that the previous games were almost build order wins from Demi, to being able to just, again, exploit what NightMare was doing. Now it's gonna be a lot more difficult to do that. Now you have to prove yourself in a later game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do see that Blink and +1 starting up from NightMare. So that should be exactly what we're seeing.
Yeah, exactly. Lair on the way here for Demi as well. The Oracles are just doing whatever they can. One of the Oracles already sustaining a lot of damage. NightMare has to be careful. There's a lot of value and a lot of potential in these Oracles already. They dive on that 4th base, and they have enough DPS output here to force a cancel.
Yeah, it does force the cancel, but Demi, very good job there to drop down the hatchery without losing his drone again. Even picks off an Oracle.
Oh, exactly. Very nicely done there by Demi. Very quick to replace his hatchery as well. It was so quick, in fact, that that drone didn't die. That was the goal there for NightMare. That's why he was sticking around a little bit longer, to try and focus fire it as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, NightMare just regained control of his side of the map, picking up a couple of Oracles here. Sorry, a couple of Overlords here and there, but it has to be careful. Ooh, almost loses a Stalker.
Yeah, Demi doing a really good job with these Lings, just being annoying with them, keeping an eye on the army of NightMare, and also baiting out a few activations of the Pulsar Beam on the Oracles, just trying to drain as much of the energy on those as he can.
Exactly. He wants as low energy on those Oracles as possible. Meanwhile, we have 20 more Lings in production. What's important is that Demi did not go for a safety Rotorn, and interestingly enough, as he confirms the 4th base, and he's maybe thinking about going to deny it, he is going for a very fast Infestation Pit.
Yeah, heading straight for that Infestation Pit, also getting a macro hatch in the main, so going for that heavy Ling Bane style. Does a good job there with the surround, just setting off the stasis on only a few Lings, and also denying the Stalker here at the 4th.
Exactly, the Stalker should be going down. Meanwhile, there was some nice micro by NightMare, who's actually using the stasis Lings to try and force some SimCity and force reduce surface area on his own Stalker. So it's really cute micro there. Meanwhile, there weren't enough Lings here to deny the 4th base, but at least Demi does force NightMare to turn around and go back home. And what Demi's doing right now is very unique. He's skipping Roaches, he's skipping Ravagers, he's skipping Hydras. He's going just sheer, pure Ling Bane all the way into what looks like a fast Hive, potentially even fast Ultras.
Yeah, I really like this from him, potentially feeling that he does have a good position in this game, feeling very comfortable to just skip along the tech tree.
Yeah, exactly. A very greedy style, and I like it. Oh, as we're going to be getting a little bit of a pause here. Hopefully everything is okay. Maybe, Uber Eats knocking on the door.
True. Uber Eats coming in with that their iced coffee.
Oh, exactly, mate. Demi's going to need it here as the game goes on longer. But I really do like that here in the third game, after like a really explosive dynamic series, Demi, even here in a quote-unquote macro game, he's doing like some kind of weird stuff and kind of unorthodox stuff that NightMare hasn't scouted yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And considering the current game state, he's actually doing very well as well. He hasn't really taken any damage to speak of, especially from these oracles, even picking off one of the oracles himself. And NightMare, quite interestingly, being forced to play a fairly passive game.
Exactly. Meanwhile, I don't know if you just saw, but the hallucination did confirm the Hive was on the way. Immediately, NightMare throws down 2 Robos. He's like, oh, okay, Ultras are on the horizon. I need Immortals as soon as possible. And Immortals are a nice answer to this. He also takes his gases. Now that I'm forced to take into Immortals, I need to prioritize gas mining here on my side. But Demi has an option, and you know what? He doesn't have Immortals yet. He has a mass amount of Ling Bane, an insane amount of Ling Bane. Go, puppy, go!
I really like this coming out from Demi. Just kind of poking, a little bit indecisive here. Does have the revelation on those Lings, so expecting as well the stasis trap there, but there isn't one there.
Exactly, there is no stasis trap there. Here on the left-hand side instead, Banelings are rolling on in. They will find some connections in the mineral line. 6 workers are going to be going down here. Demi, he's really respecting this. I don't blame him because he may not want to hit an anti-timing. +2 is a couple of seconds away.
Yeah, absolutely. Just taking his time, trying to cause a little bit of a distraction to get these Banelings in. But the defense so far from NightMare has been pretty good. But as I'm saying, that's 16 probes going down. Really great job from Demi using the Banes from both sides to just trap those probes though.
Yeah, exactly. Very nicely done here, but NightMare's not done. He's expanding aggressively again towards his opponent on the right-hand side of the map. Ultra Cavern gets thrown down, but again, Immortal production has already commenced. NightMare was able to accurately read the tech path of Demi, so he's already getting ready for it. But again, it takes a decent amount of Immortals to really get things going. Thankfully, he's also supplementing his army with Archons.
Yeah, NightMare already one step ahead on the tech, but at the same time, he has been forced into a very passive game, where this style usually relies a lot on having a lot of map presence as the Protoss. He has been pushed back into his base for the most part.
Yeah, and he's being spread thin. The Archons are at the natural base. The Immortals are, sorry, at the third base. The Immortals are at the natural. There's nothing here at the fourth, so we're going to be seeing a kill, not a cancel on that fourth. Sorry, fifth.
Yeah, beautiful job using those Lings just to zone away the Stalkers and give his Lings the time to take down that base. And Demi taking a commanding position. A lot of map presence for him now, and he comes straight back into deny the 5th again.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, he's gonna get a forced around on the army. We may even see a blink away from this, but no, the Stalkers all get focused out. The Archons as well. Demi is not just gonna get the 5th, he also swallows up half of the army.
Yeah, absolutely. Demi not getting distracted by the smaller prize of the 5th. Sees the opportunity to jump on the army and takes down 2 Archons.
Yeah, exactly. What's interesting is that he will back off. A little bit surprising here. The option definitely was there for Demi to try and take down that base. Looks like he's going to go back, but he missed his window. There are now plenty of Archons to deal with all these Lings.
Yeah, and importantly as well now, Demi does see the Immortals, does see how far ahead on the production of the Immortals NightMare is. So he should have a fairly good idea of the overall composition for NightMare.
Yeah.
And that might influence what he wants to go for.
Yeah, here we go. More Ultras on the way. 3-3 on the way as well. Demi still did force a cancel on that 5th base. So even though he missed it earlier, he still got it. And 21 probes went down. NightMare really struggling when it comes to the economy. His army, though, is slowly getting larger and larger. As you were saying, very high tech of an army. A lot of Immortals, a lot of Archons. Demi still stuck on Ling Bane Ultra. It can still work if he gets us around.
Yeah, very awkward timing. NightMare feels the strength of his tech, feels that Demi, with the advantage that he gets from killing the 5th, does need to be attacked here. And we do see without the Chitinous Plating, without the +3, And with this huge immortal count, the first Ultra already absolutely shredded.
Oh yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, it looks like the northern base is going to be taken down by a zealot run, by a couple of stage traps being set up behind this army as well. Demi has to be so careful. He is max, and again, he can fight this, but it's all about the engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. Just taking his time with the engagement, doesn't want to get caught going down one of these ramps and being choked up in the ramp. Does see that there's no fifth, so that should give him a little bit more, it should calm him down a little, give him a little bit more time to think.
Yeah, definitely. But at the same time, Demi, his top 2 bases were denied. 2 hatcheries were killed due to those zealot run baits. Demi just didn't have enough supply to really defend multiple places at once. He didn't have the attention. Another zealot run bait here towards the north.
Yeah, we do have these zealot run-bys causing the army to go this way and that. NightMare doing a very good job with the stasis traps, just zoning out the flanks, but Demi is going to commit to the fight now.
Oh my god, and we're going to see a flank from the left-hand side as well. Banelings are rolling on in. Is it going to be enough there in the end? The Ultras are trying to break on through, but the Link Bane is getting on top of the Immortals.
Yeah, these Immortals absolutely doing work, shredding through the Ultras, and this was a bloodbath of a fight. Both sides losing so many power units in that fight, and there is almost 0 Ling Bane left for Demi, but a recall is forced.
A recall is forced. We'll just barely keep a couple of these Archons alive. What's important, what I feel like were the MVPs, were these Queens. With their transfusions, they were able to keep these these Ultras alive. They forced another cancel at the 5th base.
Yeah, and with that cancel, NightMare is in a dire position economically. He was really all in with that attack. You did feel the pressure for him to do damage and to really get his army in there, and suddenly the supplies are telling a story.
Oh my god, exactly. You know what, NightMare, he decides to expand towards the north. We see another cancel here with the Lings. Looks like Demi wants a little bit more. The wall is not a wall! Well, but he doesn't want the wall. He wants 2 Archons. Sorry, Immortals.
Yeah, CC Immortals, good patience from Demi, does realize that he can't get those Immortals and does save what Lings he can. So, Demi doing a marvelous job controlling this game, not allowing at any point NightMare to get this 5th out, and he is completely starving him out.
Ooh, yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, the probe goes to take the 5th. Banelings were ready and waiting as well. So again, 5th is non-existent here. He checks towards the south, and now this space here looking a little bit exposed, but ooh, stasis traps do still litter the field here, keeping NightMare's 4th safe.
Yeah, Demi doing a very good job of controlling the map and controlling where the 5th is taken, but NightMare does start to get his 5th up in the bottom left-hand corner, and it will be important for Demi to deny this in the future.
Yeah, exactly. He needs to try and stop this from getting up and running. Meanwhile, an army towards the south means that Demi is also kind of being spread thin. He expanded here towards the south, so he kind of needs his army here to protect this crucial base, as Demi himself has been denied bases, to be honest. But he also has to move towards the north as well, so he has to make a crucial decision. Where does he want to apply that pressure?
Yeah, absolutely, and we do see him breaking down these rocks, just opening up more angles of attack for himself, and I do believe he will be looking for a fight here. If he can take advantage of the splitting of the army to be able to catch one half of the army with his full army, that'll be instrumental to him taking back the momentum in this game.
Exactly. Army supplies are very similar, but as you were pointing out, NightMare, half of it is towards the north, the other half is towards the south. Demi can definitely win one of these engagements with only half the army. He just has to go sooner rather than later. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Brutal harassment here from NightMare with the 2 oracles. Clears out the entire mineral line, getting 19 drones.
Oh my god, somehow, some way, the oracles were insane here towards the south. The queens were out of position. They were not where they needed to be. They were here in the middle of the map instead. And now Demi, oh god, he has to try and make a decision here. Where is he going? He decides to go through the center of the map, where NightMare is ready for him, or he's waiting.
Yeah, I see him trying to deal with the stasis traps that he knows are still out there, but a little bit of indecisiveness. Demi's starting to get stuck on an army that is not the best army against what we're seeing from NightMare. The NightMare with a lot of Immortals, a lot of Archons, and these upgrades all finishing up, already going for the +3 shields, is starting to get into a position where his army's looking very formidable compared to that of Demi's.
Yeah, there was a window here where Demi was up in supply, up like 40-50 supply. Now that both players are maxed, and what is scary is that NightMare is getting ready to transition and take flight. He's ready to go into Sky Toss after a fight happens, after he loses some supply.
Yeah, and he did manage to get this 5th up. Meanwhile, we do see Demi using this Bane run by to distract, and is going to get this attack coming in on this 5th. NightMare recognizing the situation, immediately evacuating, and Demi also sending in Banes to the bottom right-hand side. A huge double prong attack coming in.
Yeah, exactly. Demi with the patience. It looks like NightMare was the one to pull himself out of position just like that. A quarter of the army does get given up for free here. NightMare plummeting in supply. A couple of ultras are getting caught out with some awkward pathing, but overall, Demi with a great couple of moments here.
Yeah, Demi taking out that 5th and forcing NightMare into a much more all-in position. We do see also that the Spire is finishing up for Demi, so Demi also probably recognizing that he does need to diversify his tech in the future, but it does look like NightMare will need to put some pressure on him right away.
Exactly. We see a Zealot run by here towards the north. We do have a couple of links to meet them, though. The main army is posturing here in the middle of the map, going to be able to clean up a lot of this supply with the Ling Bane. Okay, looks like this Zealot run by isn't going to do much of anything. Towards the south, another Zealot run by head towards that fresh base.
Yeah, beautiful army splitting to the top left by Demi, but this army in the bottom right is going to drag him out of position, and this might be where NightMare chooses to strike with the Immortals and the Archons. This is a huge Archon count that he's amassed.
It's insane, mate. The Archons are here to protect the 5th base. Ling run by doesn't make it through, but Demi, his main army, head towards the south. This base looking a little bit exposed.
Yeah, great anticipation there coming out from NightMare, but Demi, as he has been for most of this game, just one step ahead with the army movement. But this time does not manage to take out the base and takes considerable losses.
That was not a good trade. I don't know if you saw, that was like 15 Banelings rolling into 2 Archons with an overcharge keeping them alive. The Banelings did no damage whatsoever. A lot of gas, a lot of minerals going down the drain, and now the Archons are pushing on towards the north, and Demi is running out of minerals.
Yeah, we are seeing Demi starting up a lot more Lings and Banes, but this low-tech army against all the Archons going to be very difficult to make it work unless you can get a very good surround. Yeah. Meanwhile, NightMare is managing to even get onto this 4th base of Demi that's starting to mine out.
Exactly. It's one of these things where Demi, he kind of has one mining base left here towards the south. NightMare got that 5th up and running. He still has a fresh base to rely upon. And because of that, he's slowly been able to be a little bit more efficient. Demi finally trying to diversify his army a little bit more. Infestors are coming out. They definitely will help, but I wonder, is it too late?
Yeah, we do see the pathogen, we do see the fungal. Demi recognizing that this high-tech army, if you do want to beat any high-tech army like this, whether it be a very high-tech Protoss army or a very high-tech Mech Terran army, usually the answer you're going to want to look for is either the fungals or the neural parasite, maybe further down the line. So it might be something we see later on coming out from Demi.
Yeah, exactly. He needs time right now. He needs time to rebuild his army, and he needs time to gather energy on these infestors as well, as they're coming up before Pathogen Glands does finish. We do see that Demi is now expanding towards the north, towards the center north. NightMare also looking to take a 6th base. These are scary times here, where NightMare potentially is soon to have a better economy than that of the Zerg.
Yeah, we are seeing a lot of Archons coming through. Interestingly, from NightMare, that fleet beacon looks like it wasn't necessarily for the Skytrust transition, but for a mothership.
Yeah, a bit of a -400 there. I mean, to be fair, it is a really good support unit. It makes things a little bit more awkward. It does kind of force you to have detection here if you really want to take a fight. And to be honest, Demi doesn't have a lot of anti-air.
I'm actually wondering, considering that Demi's army is so focused on Ultras, and we do have all these Archons from NightMare, he could potentially look for an offensive recall in the main, and it's going to be very awkward for Demi to fight up into the main through the ramp.
It really is. Meanwhile, it looks like NightMare, he is finally converging with his entire army. All the Archons here. No! 2 Infestors do get sniped here before any spells get thrown down. The mothership has been revealed. Demi focusing more on a bit of a Zealot army here on the right, Zealot run by on the southern side of the map, which means he's going to be losing some bases.
Yeah, this army pushing through. He is all in on these Archons, really low on resources apart from this, and the Neural is only seconds away from finishing. If he can get a good fight with this Neural Parasite, Demi could get the key fight that he needs to clear out this terrifying army.
There we go.
And the Neural is revealed.
First Neural is revealed. We see a mass recall here to go into the main base. Oh my god, it's exactly as you called it. And going into the main base against all these Archons is not going to happen. And NightMare can always just recall back home.
Yeah, this hive is going down, and this is pretty much for free for NightMare. You can see Demi not even trying to contest this yet. There is no way that he can push up that round.
Oh god, no, he's thinking about it. He wants to try. He's going to get a couple of neurals, 1 neural on the Immortal here. He does have high ground vision. Is he going to try and break in?
Yeah, and he's just not able to break in, and we see NightMare taking an incredible back and forth game.
Wow, GG, well played, NightMare. He fights back in this series in a longer macro game. He does put a point on the board.
Yeah, GG, but I don't think this will be too discouraging for Demi, because it was a much more standard macro game, and he looked completely in control of that mid game.
Oh yeah, he really did. Even towards the late game, we saw things start to slip out of his fingers a little bit when that 5th did finally get up and running. When Demi had to make a hard choice, do I want to try and fight the army or try and deny the 5th? And he was trying, maybe a little bit indecisive there for a period where he was maxed out. And eventually, he did kind of let things get a little bit more out of control. Demi himself, we didn't really get to praise NightMare too much about it, but NightMare was doing a really good job at denying Demi from expanding and taking more hatcheries.
Yeah, absolutely. The same thing that Demi was doing throughout the game, trying to deny the 5th from NightMare. NightMare eventually, as he built up that Archon and Immortal count, was able to really effectively use his 2 groups of armies to kind of checkmate Demi by having his army forced to be mainly in one location while he took out the bases on the other side.
Exactly. That was a really well fought game there. Ooh, and now our finals continues as we go into game number 4. This will not be a 3-0 sweep. We will be having a more back and forth game. And now we go from one of the more standard macro maps into another.
Yeah, we do have one of the larger maps, I think possibly the largest map in this map pool. So if any map is going to be the one that we see very drawn out macro game, kind of like the last one, this is one that I should expect that.
I do as well, and here we go, because spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire ESL, we have the Indian Zerg player himself representing Alpha X, 1 game away from becoming our Sparkling Tuna Cup number 17 champion. It is Demi.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of the map, he is the blue Protoss, representing Team NV. It is NightMare.
And I'm feeling spoiled here, Asher, because that was such a good game that we just had. Can we top it? Can we compete with that? A game where Demi was allowed and able to take up so quickly into Hive, get into that Ling Bane Ultra style, deny bases left and right, and for NightMare to kind of absorb all of those pushes, refine his army, get the insane Archon and Immortal count that he needed. That was the thing of beauty.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something we often see with Korean players when they're playing against foreigners. They will kind of like skill check the first game or two. So a lot of the time they'll just play a very aggressive or offbeat opening and just see if they can get a free, or not a free win, but kind of like a cheeky win, playing something a little bit off meta and using their skill. But Demi has like shown that he's not one to be pushed over. In fact, he was kind of the one doing the checking on NightMare, and he earned his way into the macro game and proved his mettle as well.
Exactly. He definitely did prove it, not just to me, not just to you, not just to NightMare, but I hope to everyone watching in the chat as well, that, you know, some of these players from lesser known regions like Southeast Asia can go toe-to-toe with some of these Koreans, and we'll see if he can keep it up, because Cosmic Sapphire, we've been talking about it before, it's a larger map, a lot of bases to take, a lot of different pathways as well. There's a gold. I hope NightMare doesn't open Twilight Council. I want to see another macro game, mate.
Yeah, and we do see that Stargate coming down. So far, exactly the same as last game. Very standard game coming out from both players, and that is what we would expect on this map. Definitely wouldn't expect something like a Link Flood. This wall here, this 2-building wall, it's very easy to defend compared to some of the other 3-building maps.
Exactly. Far easier to defend on 2 bases. You can even argue even on 3 bases, but of course things can change as the game goes on. There are plenty of rocks in the middle of the map, and once the rocks open up, there are so many more different attack paths. It's so important for a player like NightMare to make sure that their Sim City is on point so he can wall off, defend his third, defend his fourth, get into a longer game. Whew. But we'll see if we get there. So far, we do see that from the other side of the map, Demi making a decent amount of lings here, looking to try and poke and prod. Making actually a lot more lings. Uh-oh.
Yeah, this does kind of look like that ling flood that he's been going for. And we do see nothing but lings in the production tab. I think he wants to try to finish this game off, but this time we see the shield battery and we see the probe already ready, and we see 3 adepts. The adept hasn't gone across the map. NightMare knows exactly what's coming his way and has prepared accordingly.
NightMare is so ready for this. We have shield batteries. We have a Void Ray as well, not an Oracle. Lings are not going to be able to bust through this two building wall. We do see immediately Demi is droning up behind this, but he set himself behind, making all of these lings.
Yeah, this is a really awkward start for Demi. And already we're seeing the Overlord getting denied by the Void Ray, and we're going to see a lot of map control coming out from NightMare as soon as this economy lead that he has kicks in.
Yeah.
And he does even let these batteries finish.
Yeah, just because, you know what, he can afford to. He's that far ahead that he can allow all of these shield batteries to finish up and make sure nothing crazy happens. We were talking about it at the start of this game, and I didn't think it would be relevant, but yes, it is very easy to defend on 2 bases on this map. You cannot link flood, and we see why. Demi, I believe, was hoping that maybe NightMare would be lax just because of the map and just because it's so unlikely that this would happen, but Demi did not win out on that mind game.
Yeah, meanwhile, I think NightMare senses the lead that he has in this game, and he is going for 4-gate glaives.
Oh boy, here we go. Glaives are on the way, and this is going to work so well because Demi is stuck on lings. Because he's forced to drone up, I'm sure he wants to be as efficient and cut as many corners as possible. I doubt he's going to go for a safety roach war, and we will see. Meanwhile, he's going to trade decently well here. He's going to clean up some of these adepts.
Yeah, he is just trading out these adepts, which does take a lot of power out of the timing that's coming here for NightMare. But NightMare trading adepts for lings probably is what he's looking to do anyway. And this is something that you can do as a punish for when these ling openers don't go very well. But Demi is prepared. He is making the Roach Warren already.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. I was a little bit worried that maybe he would cut a few too many corners, but a Roach Warren is on the way. He has recognized that, hey, that's a decent amount of adepts, even more so than usual. He's going to check once again here with his lings, at least forcing the adepts to stay at home. But NightMare doubles down and he throws down 4 more gates. Oh my God.
Yeah, NightMare going up to 8 gateways already, so this is very aggressive coming out from him.
8 gate glaive adept. Jesus Christ, a lot of adepts are going to be coming across the map. Thankfully, Demi is making roaches defensively. He is spreading creep. He's trying to connect all his bases, trying to make sure he has the most ideal defense possible. Is it going to be enough though? Because NightMare, he is coming out.
This is giving me ideas. Why was I going 6 gate adept? 8's way more than 6.
Yeah, it's 2 more, mate. That's crazy.
It's crazy. And he shades straight in.
Oh my God, exactly. Forcing the... Oh my God, the bounce to be a little bit awkward. Demi does buy some of his own army, his lings, and his own drones as well. Eventually, he will clean up these deaths, but at what cost?
Yeah, NightMare just clearing, just happy to trade out army for army. And with his blink on the way, he is going into more of a stalker style, but this is a little bit of an awkward time for him. We do see Demi droning up as well, and he does have the supply lead for now.
Does have a bit of a supply lead, and oh, Demi, he is reverting back to his old ways. I appreciate this. A spire is thrown down. He's taking all of his gases. This madman wants to go into mutas.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Demi quite well known for his muta play, especially versus Terran. He's an extremely strong player with mutas, so it is really nice to see him going for, you know, something that's a bit more of a calling card for him, something that is definitely very comfortable playing.
Exactly. Well known in the Southeast Asia region to be the Muta king of this region. We'll see if he can get away with it because, of course, Blink Stalkers are an answer to Mutas. Not the answer, but they can do quite well against them. Demi just confirming the Stalker count, confirming the tech of choice going into the main base just to make sure that nothing crazy is happening.
Yeah, and having a look at the features of this map, I do really like the choice of Muta on this map. We do see plenty of dead space both sides of the main. We do see that the bases are quite spread out from each other, and this triangle third and the main are quite awkward to travel between as well. But meanwhile, we do see a Blink Stalker attack on the other side of the map.
Oh my god, the target fire on the hatchery. The fourth base is going to go down, and we see a recall as well. The files will connect, but well worth it here for NightMare, only losing a handful of Stalkers for a kill on that hatchery. Meanwhile, quickly checking oh my god, the vision of NightMare. He goes in with the hallucination, and he will see the Spire.
Yeah, very important scout here on the Spire. So he does throw down cannons and batteries in his mineral lines immediately to prepare. And we do see him continuing with the plan with his +1, with his blink.
Yeah, unfortunately, this was supposed to be a surprise from Demi to go into the Muta switch, but the surprise has been scattered. NightMare is fully aware of what's happening, so the likelihood of these Mutas dealing damage isn't quite there. Thankfully, Demi, I mean, it looks like he only went for enough Mutas to harass. It wasn't going to be a mass Muta switch.
Yeah, still going for the +1 range. We won't expect him to be going for this Muta Lingbane style. Definitely looking to go a little bit more into the roaches, and we do see a lot of Overlords finishing up, clearing up all the supply he could possibly need for the rest of the game.
Oh, exactly.
Even a little bit of a laser Overlord.
a little bit. At the same time, it looked like Demi was trying to go for some multi-pro, and he tried to hit the fourth base at the same time as the Mutas were here in the main base, but NightMare was in position. He was ready for it. Still loses a handful of probes, though.
Yeah, we do see spectacular Muta control coming out from Demi, barely losing any momentum on those Mutas as he flies by the probes.
Oh, exactly. Meanwhile, a couple of Mutas are getting picked off here and there. He's kind of cornered here in the dead space, surrounded by Stalkers, but at least this does let him know where the army is. He's free to drone, regain that hatchery, that fourth hatchery, maybe even take a fifth behind this, and work on that Ling, Bane, Roach Ravager army.
Yeah, we do see both the attack upgrades started up, and he does see this window here to pick up a few more probes, so being as annoying as he possibly can be with these Mutas.
Yeah, for one moment, the Stalkers, they move out of position. As the Stalkers move out, Demi moves in. 5 more probes go down. Oh, the Archons did stick around, though, and it looks like, oh, these Mutas are going to be cleaned up.
Yeah, it does fly over the Archons, but doesn't manage to lose too many. Those Mutas will just fly around in the dead space and heal back up.
Yeah, and because of that, this Muta count is pretty high. It's enough Mutas to one-shot a worker, so NightMare has to respect this. He's going to be forced to leave some supply at home and not use all of it here on the map.
Yeah, and we do have a considerable amount of Banes and Ravagers for Demi, a very high-quality army here, and looking very scary over here on this side of the map against this mostly Stalker army of NightMare.
Oh god, exactly. But with all this Ling Bane, oh, he's going to be able to chase down this Zealot run-by. Looks like Demi doesn't want to commit to a fight here at the fourth base yet. He wants to deal with the run-by first, make sure he doesn't get pulled apart. Now he can focus on these Stalkers.
Yeah, we are way out on the sides of this map. This is actually the first time I've seen that there's a rich gas on this side. Kind of interesting. Meanwhile, we see some lovely force fields. Good biles as well to break down those force fields, but Demi won't commit to the fight just yet.
Yeah, exactly. Just trying to pepper the army with as many biles as he can. The Mutas, at the same time, dip on in. Again, we were talking about it before. Immaculate Muta control this entire time. Whenever NightMare gets distracted, 5 or so probes, they just end up falling.
Yeah, meanwhile, we do see the mothership starting up for NightMare. So we do see with Protoss players, the mothership does tend to be a bit more of a stylistic choice, and it is something that NightMare does seem to favor.
Yeah, we saw him do it in the previous game. He's going to be able to do it again, and we see how useful it can be to recall into the main to just outposition that Zerg player. Meanwhile, Zealot run-by on the right-hand side. At the same time, that Stalker army is trying to look for a way in, trying to look for an avenue of attack as the base goes down.
Yeah, unfortunately does not manage to save his base there, but we can see Demi going up to a very strong Baneling count. He's got a very scary army that he has here.
Yeah, and these Stalkers are here towards the bottom left-hand side of the map. They're not here at home to help defend against the mass Lingbane Roach Ravager. Demi, he has an opportunity. He has a window here where he can just not deny this northern base, but maybe even go for this saturated base.
Yeah, he has managed to really make things difficult for NightMare. All the Stalkers to the side, but we do see all the Banes being used on Archons. A little bit of an inefficient use of those Banelings, but we do have a few more here in store. Meanwhile, this green battery doing a lot of work here for NightMare, and he is going for a counterattack with the Stalkers.
The overcharge is insane, but you know what? The Archons fall anyway, despite the overcharge. Banelings are rolling on in. The Stalkers are dealing a massive amount of damage, but we have reinforcements coming out. Demi should have enough to defend, and in the end, he takes down 14 of those probes.
Yeah, it does take down a good number of probes, but I do worry for Demi. That was quite inefficient, and with the amount of Banelings that he spent on that, that is a significant portion of his army strength.
You're not wrong, you're not wrong. NightMare though, if you look, he also lost a lot in that trade as well. He lost every single one of his Archons, but he warps in a couple of High Templar. He's looking to rebuild that Archon count. It's going to take a while. It's relatively expensive. I feel like both players are hurting a little bit when it comes to their own economies. Both players, sub 70 workers.
Yeah, absolutely. We do see a little bit of a move command from Demi, a little bit unfortunate. It does throw down some bios to try to take out this mothership.
Yes, no detection.
Yeah, no detection here for Demi. All he can do is just try to land some of these bios on the army.
Yeah, exactly. Just bile and pray as he has 3 Overseers on the way. At the same time, bit of a Zealot runway on the right-hand side. Looks like it's going to run into the army, though, so it is going to be able to be pushed away. Demi's still struggling to expand here on the right. NightMare getting that Nexus up and running.
Yeah, slightly unfortunate timing on the run-by there, just pushing the army back into the path of the run-by. And this army, while chasing this run-by, will actually find the base to the top right. So a little bit of a swing of momentum here in Demi's favor once again.
Oh yeah, a little bit, but he has to be careful because the army of NightMare does rotate over as well. Meanwhile, Zealot Runway being set up to go into the natural base. Demi has very limited vision here towards the south. That Zealot Runway could deal a lot of damage.
Yeah, we see both players quite low on money at this point, so any mispositioning of the army could be very costly.
Oh god, it really can be. Meanwhile, Demi running through that slow zone does get caught in it, but it may not even matter as he does end up going past the Ling Bane running on forward into the mineral line.
Yeah, these Banes getting really good connections on the probe. 23 going down already, and we are seeing this army of NightMare is really being pushed back. He's losing a lot, but at the same time, this Zealot run-by is doing so much.
Exactly, the natural goes down, workers are falling as well. NightMare was very quick to pull the boys though, so actually not losing too many drones in the end. The Zealots are dealing a lot of damage to the infrastructure though, and you know, NightMare, he keeps on going. He's chasing him down.
Yeah, Demi taking a lot of indirect damage from these Zealots, just having to run all his drones everywhere, this way and that, and he is actually losing quite a few drones now, 16 going down.
Oh, exactly. The Zealots wreaking havoc in the main base. Demi has to respond. The problem is that the main is quite far away from the front line, so he may leave himself vulnerable if he does so, but he had to make a choice, and yeah, he has to run all the way back home.
Yeah, absolutely. Just needs to clean up the last of these Zealots, and suddenly we're in a very low eco situation for both players.
Yeah, exactly. Both of them are starving for bases. Meanwhile, he still has the mutas alive. Oh no, but not for much longer as the mutas are being cleaned up by these Stalkers. Not like this. Ooh. As 2 of them manage to survive, Demi finally regains control of his main base. More importantly, he expands towards the north. Rich vets being available here as well. Demi's economy is looking a little bit healthier than NightMare's as NightMare is trying to double expand.
Yeah, NightMare doesn't really have any fresh base for the moment, so this is a huge lull in the income of NightMare. Definitely seeing a good advantage of income to Demi. At the same time, Demi starting to morph in more Banes, starting to get more of these roaches, definitely looking for an attack in the near future.
Yeah, exactly, but right now he's being distracted a little bit as we do have a Zealot towards the south, poking at the freshest base of Demi. He's forced to respond with a lot of his army. NightMare going into disruptors now.
Yeah, I love this diversification of the tech for NightMare. These disruptors, especially with the more choky attack angles on this map, are going to be very difficult to deal with just Roach Rav.
Oh yeah, it can be terrifying. Demi doesn't have eyes on them yet. He saw the army, but just barely wasn't able to see the disruptors as they were behind in the back line. Meanwhile, Roach Ravager does rock up, and it looks like this northern base, yeah, it's not going to get up.
Yeah, we can see the advantage here, though, of NightMare going for the double expansion. There is one that will survive, and at the same time, he is counter-attacking his base in the bottom right.
Oh my god, let's go. He recalls all the way to the top right-hand side of the map. He doesn't have his disruptors here, but again, he can always just recall out after taking down this base. There you go.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he does. Only a few stalkers left behind. And Demi trading a base for a base. NightMare doing a great job there, recognizing that with his double expansion, it's okay if one of them goes down. He can just trade off the other one and he will still have a mining base left behind.
Yeah, exactly. And now Demi's going for a bit of a counterattack. Has to be careful, has to respect that army again, respect that mass disruptor count. Demi, does he have a real answer to this? He sees NightMare even trying to take this this southern gold base. I was gonna say that something like Vipers would be amazing, but Demi doesn't even have a hive.
Yeah, very low tech for Demi, still just continuing to make Lings and Banes. I love that these two mutas, the same two mutas from those 5 mutas that we had in the top right, still alive. A lot of attention to detail from Demi, just keeping these out alive for the rest of the game. But we do see... No!
The caster curse is real. Meanwhile, NightMare's main army is pushing on forward. The first Nova is going to go up and does connect on those Morphing Banelings and Ravagers again. He's got 4 disruptors with this army, 3 Novas still available. That's a lot of Novas, and Demi has to respect that.
I wish I could kill mutas that easily in my own games. Oh, beautiful splits by Demi there. Manages to avoid the worst with the Novas, but he is being zoned away from defending this base.
Yeah, but you know what? That was 3 Novas. This is going to be the last one. Oh my god, it is going to connect with the juicy center of that Zerg army, but in the end, he's going to try and get a surround on this. Can he do it? He takes out a lot of these Archons, but those disruptors are about to reset.
Yeah, nice bars coming out from Demi, but he just doesn't have enough to deal with the army of NightMare, and GG is called. We are going to an ace match.
GG, well played. We are going all the way to game number 5 once again. That game did not disappoint, going the distance here between our 2 players, and oh my god, very different. You know, before this, previously we had more Lingbane Ultra style. Instead here we had a low layer tech Lingbane Roach Ravager, where both players were just, it was a knife fight. They were both struggling to mine, both struggling to max out. I don't think they ever really did. But that transition into disruptors is exactly what NightMare needed, and that double expansion as well, to be able to finally get a base up and running.
Yeah, brilliant game coming out from these guys. Really close the whole way through. At one point, both players on only 40 workers, but we can see kind of ended the same way as the other game, where Demi just got stuck on a certain tech, and he couldn't get off that tech as the armies kept on trading and trading, and NightMare managed to come up with another idea, whether that was the mass Archon with the warp in into the main, or whether that was the disruptors. He was able to find a solution and the next step to finish the game off, which Demi wasn't able to do himself.
Exactly. Oh, it did feel like, you know, NightMare, he knew kind of his pathway to victory, and Demi was struggling to end the game a little bit earlier, right? It felt like there was a little bit less longevity with Demi. And in the end, you know, NightMare was able to take that game. We are now going all the way to game number 5, all the way to the ace match. Which way is this going to go? I'm sure a lot of people are already very impressed with how Demi has been able to perform so far, but can he go the distance?
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have our ace map loaded up. It is data under the sea.
We are going swimming, people, under the sea. Let's dive on into game number 5. This went the best way it could have gone, all the way to the ace match, and Data Sea, a map known for being cut in half for those late game stages. At least in some of the other matchups. Maybe we'll say the same. We'll see the same in this one.
This is the map down where it's wetter, down where it's better. Take it from me.
Under the sea. What's shaking my head? Ay.
And here we are in Data Under the Sea, and we have spawning in the right hand corner of the map. It is the blue Protoss, the South Korean playing for Team NV. It is NightMare.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Data CESL, we have the Indian Zerg player himself representing Alpha X. It is Demi.
Already we see this probe coming straight away to block the hatchery of Demi. Demi's forced to take the unnatural natural, as is tradition.
Exactly, but it's okay because you know what? The unnatural natural has Sebastian chilling there with you, you know. So he's
Where'd
gonna
he go? He's gone, man.
He's gone. No, I don't like this. I was just about to say, I love to see some of the other players from our region rock up in the chat as well. I don't know if you saw Seether in the chat. When did Varun get on the crack? It's like, what the hell is going on, mate? Varun going Super Saiyan here. I mean, honestly, I'm impressed. I haven't seen Varun this good in a long time.
Yeah, it's good to see Sheldon taking off the covers of his hermit shell just for 1 second, coming out from the Tarkov, den to come say hello.
Yeah, thank you, Sheldon. We appreciate it. We know how difficult it is to pry yourself away from Tarkov. Shaking my head. Oh my god, but it's great to see this series go all the way to the ace match, to game number 5. Oh boy, but where does it go from here? Again, we were talking about NightMare and how he can kind of vary things up. He can diversify. He doesn't just have to go for Stargate openers. He doesn't just have to go for Blink Stalker, Triple Oracle. He can do something else, and I'm afraid if he does, for either player.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have seen that this is a map, especially in PvZ, where we have seen some more aggressive strategies. It is a little bit of a shorter rush compared to some of the other maps that we have seen in the last couple games. So I would expect that if he does have anything really tricky in store, this might be where we see it.
Definitely. Another thing that I want to remind everyone of, as we do have a Stargate opener, is that game on Cosmic Sapphire, it went the distance after Demi tried and failed to Link Flood, and it's also pretty impressive that Demi was able to claw himself back from that kind of deficit to be able to make up for that. I'm sure some of it was because it is a large map, right? And you can kind of maybe get away with that, pushes take a little bit longer to get across the map, but it just makes that game all the more impressive, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. Did a really good job dealing with that counter pressure with the Glaive Adepts and managed to find himself in a pretty even game. Does show quite a few lings to this Adept, though. Do you wonder if he's going for a Link Flood again?
Yeah, he's doing it again. He's doing it again, puppy. But you know what? The Adept is wise to this. NightMare already throwing down these shield batteries. He's preparing at home, fully walling off. We already have a probe here. I'm getting deja vu.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this considering how the last game went. NightMare definitely going to be aware of this as an option for Demi, but I do think Demi, knowing that this is a pretty awkward map to wall, we can see he has so much surface area on all 3 of these buildings.
Yeah, the surface area is pretty decent. Meanwhile, NightMare is confident in his ability to defend. The Void Ray is coming out. We have a Sentry coming out as well for Force Fields. NightMare is perfectly safe. Demi knows this. Demi is droning.
Yeah, we do see Demi go back into the droning a little bit earlier than last time. So he shouldn't be quite as far behind. There shouldn't be the same opportunities for NightMare to go for that very aggressive glaive attack. But we do, I would definitely expect that NightMare has quite a bit of an advantage going into this mid game.
Definitely. The one thing that I will say is that Demi does have a decent amount of links here to make life difficult for NightMare to expand and take a third base. As we see, he wants to try and do so here on the right-hand side. With 4 Adepts, he should be relatively safe, but again, there's a lot of links and he wants to get us surrounded. Ooh.
Yeah, we did see in the last game, Demi quite happy to trade out his links for the 4 Adepts. Good micro here from NightMare, does manage to avoid the surround, but Demi straight away going onto this base.
Wow.
I'm not sure if he's going to have enough to cancel it, but there is the cancel.
That was some slick micro from both players, mate. NightMare bobbing and weaving, making sure he doesn't get surrounded, but Demi also very quick to dive on top of the third base once he recognizes that there is going to be a commitment to the Shade, does have enough DPS to cancel.
Yeah, he was straight onto that base even before the Shade finished. Knew exactly what was going on. Very impressive.
Oh my god.
Mate, he's got that negative ping.
True. We are under the sea, on the sea server made as well. Just bear that in mind. So, home ground advantage, Papi. Let's go.
It's a bit of a stretch for me.
Like, what have I done?
Yeah, meanwhile, we do see this Glaives attack again. Not really too much commitment for it. Probably happy just to force out this amount of units from Demi.
Oh, but is he forcing them out, or did Demi want them? That is the question. He made a lot of links. Oh, a little bit of supply blocks. 6 overlords on the way right now. Aye. But Demi, he is not droning. He has stopped at 49 workers, and he wants to make nothing but Ling, Roach, Ravager. Some of these things are going to get spotted. The Ravager gets spotted. This is a pretty crucial scout here for NightMare.
Yeah, very awkward there, forcing the Ravagers to find another path through, and also seeing everything coming across the map. If Demi was going to commit to an attack with the Queens, with the Lings, it is slightly delayed now.
And it is spotted. That's the thing that I'm most worried about. NightMare has plenty of time to respond. He has 3 more gates on the way behind this. He threw down a second shield battery. He's throwing down a 3rd shield battery as well. He warped in a couple of sentries to gather that energy to throw down those force fields. Demi is going all in, and NightMare sees it. He's getting ready.
Yeah, nothing but Lings coming out from Demi, and this position here, we have seen one of the reasons that this map does tend to go to a split map a lot of the time is these ramps are very nice for defending the 3rd and the 4th, so that being said, these Lings do get straight up in there. A little bit late on the force fields.
Yeah, the Biles are going to connect with those sentries in the middle of the map, but we do have these 3 overcharges going on, and GG gets called.
GG.
NightMare will be able to defend against the all-in. He saw it coming a mile away. He was ready for it. GG. NightMare will be our Sparkling Tuna Cup number 17 champion.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate for Demi there. NightMare did a fantastic job sending out that Void Ray just at the right time to see what was coming, and using the architecture of the map, baiting in the Lings, and then using the force fields to keep those Ravagers out. It did end up being a very one-sided hold in the end, and NightMare takes the series and takes the win.
GG. Congratulations, NightMare. Well fought, well deserved. We saw so many different facets of NightMare throughout this series, but I also want to give a special shout out to Demi, because even though he didn't go the distance, even though he was the underdog, and I know a lot of people in the chat were cheering for him, it didn't quite make it in the end, but boy did he make a series out of it, and boy did he look good doing it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Props to Demi. Those that 3rd and 4th game, the ones that NightMare won, he looked fantastic in those games. They were very close games that could have easily gone either way, and it was just small adjustments by NightMare in the late game that managed to snatch those wins. So I'm sure Demi should be feeling very encouraged that he can go for another one of these Sparkling Tuna Cups and maybe take one down in the near future.
Definitely. Like, what I will say is that I want to wind the clock back a little bit. Some people in the chat may not have been here for Tropical Sacrifice, but this could have been a 3-0. Like, Tropical Sacrifice was such an intense game, and there were so many like windows that Demi was making for himself, and so many avenues of attack, and we did see that NightMare was struggling there. I'm sure that he's even thinking that there were a couple of these games where if Demi had just adjusted a little bit, a slight bit, maybe he would have been able to win and become a champion. So I think he's proven to us that it is well within his ability to win a best of 5 series against a player like NightMare.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to be honest, I want him to be more confident in himself. Yeah. I don't want to see these Ling floods every game.
I know. I agree. We saw it on Cosmic. We saw it on Data C. It worked that one time. Cool, but Demi, calm down, Papi. Just make drones, Papi. Just make drones.
I mean, looking at that Cosmic Sapphire game as well, it was a really good hold from NightMare, and Demi still made such a good game of it. So I feel really confident that if he just goes into an even standard game, he's going to do a lot better than he might think.
Yeah, I agree. I think it may be a mental thing. It may be a confidence thing as well. I think maybe people in the chat are thinking that as well, that, hey, Demi, you don't need to try to end the game early. It isn't necessary. And the problem is that if you don't end the game early, you're putting yourself behind. You're making things harder for yourself, where maybe you can excel a little bit more in the mid game. And I hope that he's able to recognize that. And I hope he's able to I don't know, make use of his strengths a little bit more in future tournaments, because damn was he good in that mid game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like NightMare, as we said, 6.5k player on Korea, and yeah, these were very, very close games. So Demi's right up there with him.
Definitely. So Varun, I know you love tuning in, and I know you're in the chat, and mate, did really well today. Hope you're proud. Hope you're happy. And he's, you know what, Demi, he still will walk away with some money, because at least top 2 do get paid out by Sparkling Tuna Cup. Again, as a reminder to everyone watching, !Matcherino in the chat, because we do have a Matcherino page for this tournament. And if you want to support these players, you can contribute some of your own money. I see Demi in the chat. It's okay, Papi, it's okay.
Yeah, but meanwhile, congratulations to NightMare. NightMare doing a fantastic job dominating this bracket up until the grand finals.
Yeah.
And NightMare, got to give props to him where it's due. He made the adjustments required. After Demi took that win with the Ling Flood in the first game, he was much more diligent with his scouting, much more careful with his adept at the start of the game, and he managed to not fall to the same fate again.
Exactly. Like, he was a worthy opponent and a worthy player here in our grand finals. Another special shout out to NightMare, because this is his first time winning a Sparkling Tuna Cup as well. It's not his first time participating. Usually Bjorn stops him. Usually Bjorn stands in his way, but without Bjorn, he was free to excel and spread his wings even more. And yeah, it's really cool to see him also thriving here in this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well done by him. Good to see. As a few of the players were not able to make it tonight, we were able to have a different champion, and it was, yeah, very competitive matches as well. So great to see.
Definitely. Oh, and for all the people in the chat, if you enjoyed this tournament, do not forget to tune in next week. This is a weekly tournament that has been on a little bit of a hiatus, but that's because we usually cast DreamHack and TSL and Home Story Cup. These other premier EPT tournaments usually take priority, and if they ever overlap and clash with our tournaments, then we put ours on hold and we delay them, and we put them aside for a little bit. So because of that we did go on a hiatus, but now we are returning. Now DreamHack Valencia and the Home Story Cup qualifiers are all finishing up, and we are back to our regularly programmed tournaments.
Yeah, absolutely. Been a very busy few months in the StarCraft schedule. But yeah, good to see the return of the tuna.
Yes, thank you. And I hope everyone in the chat enjoyed their time here and are willing to come in again. Again, something a little bit special about... Look at the chat, in-game chat. Something a little bit...
Oh, no.
Something a little bit special about our tournament is that we do have, or it is at a time where multiple regions can participate. Korea, Southeast Asia, Oceania, Europe as well. We had some Europeans, and we sometimes even have some North Americans and Latin Americans as well. So because of that, this tournament really does become like a global, almost like cesspool of everyone coming in, and maybe cesspool isn't the right word, but like a global like congregation
of StarCraft players.
Yeah, let's go. Nah, mate, it's beautiful. But you know, it becomes like a haven for everyone to come together, and it's really cool to see all these different regional players face off. Not so we don't just have to wait for Valencia for that sort of thing.
Be nice to see a few Australian players. Starduck.
Shaking my head. But yeah, GG, well played. For those wondering, Demi, he's letting us know, I don't know why I Ling flooded in game 4 and 5. He may have aped a little bit there, and but yeah, again, you know, we all learn from our mistakes. We grow as players, we grow as people, and I can't wait to see him next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely keen to see what he can do, especially while he's on this hot streak with his tournament performances. It feels like he's just, you know, moments away from snatching that first place, getting so close.
So close. With that does wrap up our tournament here for the day. Just barely getting to that 4-hour mark, which is, you know, roundabout right for us. Before we head off though, Asher, you know, there are some people maybe curious as to where you came from and who you are. No, don't let them know where you are.
Okay, I will now dox myself. My address is.
Oh no.
If you want to send me Uber Eats.
Oh god, that'd be amazing. Yeah, Asher, why don't you let the people know a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, so I still haven't set up a Twitter or anything like that. So you basically can't find me anywhere. But I do hang out on Twitch a lot. I do like to hang out in Lightstream. Light's been streaming quite a lot lately. Do like to hang out both in his stream and in the games by sniping him. I also find me in Vindictor's stream. He's one of the Cranky Ducklings. I like to hang out there a lot. So, yeah. Or in the Discords. If you join the Discords, !Discord in the chat, you can see the Cranky Ducklings Discord, where I will also be. How about you, Light? Where can we find you?
There you go. Unlike some people, I do have a Twitter. I do have some social medias. So if you want to follow me there, you can on the social medias. I do post whenever I go live on my own personal stream. If you want to tune into my personal streams, they're just, you know, ladder sessions. We're doing our best to try and improve as a player and try and get good. But we're stopped by people like AsherBro sniping me all the time. shaking my head. But yeah, you can follow me there. Light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'm all over the place. But if you're only interested in our tournament casting, whether it's Sparkling Tuna Cup, our amateur stuff, maybe DreamHack, maybe Home Story Cup, as we also cover all the qualifiers. We're a big like community casting channel. If you enjoyed our casting and if you want more of it, then follow us here. Cranky_Ducklings all over the place. We have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Instagram. We have a YouTube channel where we upload all of our VODs. So if you can't tune in live, they can tune in to those VODs instead. And yeah, we're all over the place. You know, we have a pretty large casting team now. Myself, Asher, Yaku, Steel, Kuro, Chase, sometimes Darking, Cristiano, Neo. I've brought on Stardock a couple of times before. You know, we work together to try and bring you as much StarCraft as possible with as much entertainment as possible as well. I don't know if I can say like quality, especially with all that those awful Little Mermaid jokes.
Hey mate, you were the culprit this time.
What are you talking? That was all you, mate. What are you on about?
You're the worst one.
You were even singing, mate. You were, I don't know. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, then consider following us. You can always support us as well. You can subscribe on Twitch, or you can become a patron on Patreon. All the money that we make on Twitch and Patreon, it all goes towards tournaments like this, Sparkling Tuna Cup. That's how we fund it. And we also salary our pro players as well. So if you're a fan of Vindicta, if you're a fan of Eric, Ryu, Starduck, and his KS2 addiction, then you can you can fund that KS2 addiction by supporting us. Oh boy. And you know, if we make enough money and if we grow more as a team, then I would love to sign some more players. I know that, like, it's so sad. We've actually had players approach us about joining the Cranky Ducklings. They're like, oh, like, is there like a free spot? You know, can we join? And it's like, we don't have enough money. we can't salary you right now. I apologize. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Mario, you're gonna have to go somewhere else.
Sorry, Mario. I've heard from Crank that there's this little team called Onside Gaming that you can join instead.
Mario's just like, oh, okay.
Feels bad, man. Feels bad. So yeah, we would love to sign some more players at some point, you know, if we are able to grow large enough. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you so much for all the support. Asher, do you have anything you want to say before we head off?
Yeah, just before we go, shout out to Tapia in the chat, or Tapia, who's contributed to the Match Arena prize pool. Thank you very much.
Oh,
I'm sure the players appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tapia, for the $6.69. Nice. Thank you so much for contributing to the prize pool. 100% of the money on Matcherino does go towards the player. It's all divided up there. So again, Demi and NightMare will greatly appreciate that boost in prize money. And with that, thank you so much everyone for watching. Stick around. We're going to give another StarCraft streamer a raid. Not too sure who. We'll check around. We'll see who is live. We'll give someone some love. Give them a chance if you want to support another StarCraft streamer. And with that, thank you. We'll see you guys tomorrow for... Oh, let me quickly check here. We'll see you guys tomorrow because our next broadcast is going to be the Team Liquid Star League number 9 Asia server qualifiers. So if you want some more Oceanic and Korean action, Demi and NightMare, they're going to be there. They're going to be a part of those qualifiers. So make sure you are there as well.
Yeah, and good luck to the players in those qualifiers. And thank you everyone for coming and hanging out. Really fun grand finals. Hope everyone enjoyed it.
Yes. Thanks for watching everyone. Bye.